I'm a little vengeful. I'm working on it.
Yeah, I know. I said one thing
Logan's
about
not a
you on
Christian
podcast
and he's
one time.
not compassionate.
I'm working on it. I swear to God. It's what I talk to my
Compassion.
therapist about. Yeah. Compassionate and being considerate.
You talk to a therapist.
Yes, I do.
How often does that happen?
Well, she has to kind of drag me into the sessions. I avoid her.
Physically drags you into the session?
No, there's Zooms. There's
Oh,
Zooms.
okay.
You proud though?
Proud or, I mean, why would someone
All
proud
right,
of?
fuck you, bro.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I think getting a therapist is good for everyone.
I'm joking.
I think it's a good thing.
No matter who it is, just talking to people.
That's why. That's why. It's not like my results are immediate, but oftentimes they'll like subconsciously sit in the back of my head. So I know that I have to work on this thing. I have to work, and eventually I start to do it.
It's been years of me and Mike telling you, like, hey, you need to talk about certain things, or you need to, like,
You know
stay
what,
with
though?
yourself and, like, sit with yourself, and you could never do it.
Do you know?
Never.
Do you know what though? Things changed. I will say a little bit. My last session with her was a little different because for those of you who have been following my little substance addiction with weed battle back and forth, I can safely say I've kicked it. I've completely kicked my weed dependency. It is so fucking great to be weed free, man. I forgot how like clear is the word I'll use.
What was the turning?
It was just a time thing. I noticed I stopped getting irritable. I could eat. My gag reflex that I somehow developed went away. I could sleep again.
No gag reflex, huh?
No. Well,
You developed, huh?
what's wrong with sucking a little dick, Mike?
This is the second time we did this.
He's like throwing out little subtle hints.
No. I kicked it and I feel so good. I feel so good and just and productive. My productivity has, no joke, 3x'd.
They say that consistency is one of the rarest traits of a human being. So it's, you were saying time, consistent, like staying on that.
Yeah.
That's what it did.
Yeah.
You look healthier. I don't know about the little side haircut thing, dude. I don't know what was going on with that. You look like I don't even know.
That's
I figured
that's
it
an
out. The
thing.
worse you look, the better you are in here.
Oh.
And the better you look out here, the more you're like, well, what happens? in this
Oh,
game?
I see.
Exact
I see.
opposite.
No, but it's really good. It's really good for anyone just going through any sort of addiction shit. And Mike will tell you this, but like it definitely is better on the other side. And there was a syndrome. There's a syndrome. It's called cannabinoid hypermesis.
Yeah.
Do you know what this is?
I've never heard of it.
So I don't really know the details, and I'm not a doctor, but after I was throwing up on New Year's repeatedly all night, it didn't make sense, right? Something didn't add up, and some people were tagging me, and even some of the podcast listeners. There's a new syndrome. I think it's a syndrome. Cannabinoid hypermesis. It's called.
How do you remember that?
Because
I've read all about it.
I read about it because people were sending it to me, and it's for people who some people who smoke absurd amounts of weed. I think it's either while they're still smoking or when they stop, experience the nausea repeatedly throughout the day, kind of inexplicable, and they don't know much about this syndrome. But I felt like it was maybe something that I was experiencing. It's because the strands nowadays of weed.
I think is it strange? Yeah, either one.
They're so strong, and weed pens. The THC concentration in weed pens is so high. It's like 92%, which is so high. And I was high more than I was not high, and it was always out of that fucking kid's pen. That kid's pen. Yeah, you. No, Kevin, you.
It's the oil, right? Is that what
it's the oil? Yeah.
It's
So
concentrate.
yeah. So this syndrome, we don't know again much about it because the strands have never been this strong, and nowadays they're just infusing these plants.
It's also how they extract it. So certain ones are extracted with butane, others are extracted through like cold ice. So like you don't know what you're smoking as opposed to just this little plant that grew from the ground.
Yeah.
At one point it was natural, and now it's like the crossbreeding,
used to call it pot.
the lights, how it's grown, the nutrients, everything is just they've created a monster. And how strong
Some
the
lady
weed is.
came up to me today in the airport. She's like, her husband just left. She's like, oh my God, my husband's like liberal and like I haven't put this jacket on in so long, and I found like a bag of pot in my jacket. And I was like, that's awesome. But I laughed because she called it pot, and I'm like,
Yeah.
did she grow it in this like pot over there? Like, why do they call it pot?
Well, that's what they used to call it.
Yeah,
Maybe
why?
that is
But why?
Maybe that is why.
That's what I'm
Because it
saying.
grows in a pot
In a
outside
pot.
your window.